the aisles of laxatives will be gone.
No.
Like stack, just be gone all the time. Mind you, this was normal. This was normal. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to PX to go get a whole bunch of laxatives so I can meet weight standard.
That
so
is insane.
They don't have a hard time.
And I feel like, everyone participating in that, it's like, how do you break that pattern when you leave?
It's like, I can't.
Hello and welcome to Eat the Damn Cake. I am Carly.
And I am Maddie.
And we're back.
What episode number is it? 33?
33.
33. Lucky number 33.
Does
I don't
anyone
know if
have
it's a lucky number. Well, welcome back. Thank you for, putting us back into your ears on the car and watching us possibly on YouTube. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We are a podcast trying to make the fitness industry a little bit more inclusive and kind of Xing out all the diet culture and all of the non-inclusive parts of that fitness industry. So making it more of an approachable and attainable situation for people.
Yeah,
Our introduction changes every week.
Accepting all shapes and sizes.
Yes.
You don't have to look a certain way to be a part of the fitness industry.
Exactly. We are just so excited today because we have an incredible guest joining.
So excited.
We are so excited. Her name is Enjely, and she is a first generation Dominican American and is currently one of the few bilingual dietitians in Massachusetts. Actually, I believe that you are the first Dominican American dietitian in all of Massachusetts. Isn't that right?
From my understanding, yes. It's a very small world. I would have known, someone would have connected me to them, but as of now, I'm the first.
That's is just
absolutely incredible.
Like, the most incredible thing ever. And I don't want to sell her short at all. She has the most incredible bio. She sent it over and was like, you can cut it down as much as you need to. I was like, I literally want to put
a piece out.
Every single piece of this in here because it's so amazing. So Enjely proudly served in the United States Marine Corps, and then her military experience and environment were filled with opportunities to overcome her self-doubt, build confidence, and find pride in her abilities. She also learned how to normalize disordered eating patterns, how normalized disordered eating patterns were in the military and how these practices directly impacted her own mental and physical health as well as her athletic performance. She went to Framingham State University for her bachelor's degree in nutrition, and we're from Framingham.
Shout out.
We lived down the street from Framingham State, so we grew up right around there. And then went to Simmons University, where she completed a Master's of Science in Nutrition and Health Promotion with a concentration in entrepreneurship and a certificate in sports nutrition. So look at that. That's incredible.
Unbelievable.
And then she became a registered and licensed dietitian this past September, is now working at Metro West Nutrition LLC.
So cool.
Is also just trying to diversify dietetics as an active board member of the Boston Alliance for Diversity in Dietetics, which is just like,
wow.
Enjely just
unbelievable.
Like that bio though, I was reading it and I was like, this is gold, liquid gold.
So that is unbelievable. Welcome on our podcast.
Yes.
Everything that you stand for, we completely align with, and we're here for it, and we're so excited to dive a little deeper with you today.
Yes.
But I kind of want to start back when you were in the Marines.
Yeah. It was different.
Yes.
I grew up, so I know you guys are like close sisters. I'm the youngest out of 5 siblings.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And, I grew up not in the greatest environment, but my brother decided to join the military. He left and joined the Marine Corps. So that's all I knew. That was kind of the only way out. My other sister was in college. My other sister was roughly around my age. So I was just like, this is probably my only way out of my environment is to, follow my brother's footsteps. School was not an option for me. I grew up, first generation Dominican American, yep. First generation going into school. So I personally felt like I wasn't smart enough to go to school. So I'm like, you know what? let me just go into the military and just follow my brother's footsteps. Maybe I'll figure things out from there.
Absolutely.
Of course, my family was in shock because I was a cheerleader, I was a dancer in school. And all of a sudden, I want to go do out of all branches of service, I want to go do the Marine Corps. Yeah, absolutely. That's great. My mom was like, no way. I'm the youngest. So she's like, absolutely not. I was like, well, when I turn 18, I'm going to like sign up. So whether you like it or not, I'm going to do it.
You're like, I'm doing it.
I'm doing it. I just like, this was my only way out.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of prepared. My brother was doing his best to prepare me as much as possible. But he got to experience the military, experience the Marine Corps as a male, as a man, this is a dominated
like field
world of men.
Yeah.
And then here I come, as much as he's trying to prepare me, there was just a lot of stuff that I was not anticipating to happen when I was in the military, but I did it. The training for it was intense. I did fracture both my legs in boot camp.
Oh my God.
Insane.
Insane. It just progressively got worse. It just progressively started with a stress fracture, started with a fracture, started with like an official fracture. How could I by any means go to medical? Because then that makes me weak, right? So I had to push through. I was like, I'm in a female Marine Corps out of all branches. I cannot go to medical. I need to push through. If my leg falls off, it falls off. I'll deal with it when it happens.
I'll just revisit that.
It was my mentality. It was so messed up. It was just like, I was on a mission. I was not, because whenever you go into boot camp, if you're from the West Coast and the East Coast, you go to different boot camps. But I was like, Paris Island is where we go. And Paris Island is an island. And my mission was like, I need to leave this island as a Marine. I cannot leave here broken and just, I couldn't. No. Anyways, so they set you back. Whenever you were injured, they put you like in a rehab facility. So if you show any signs of depression, suicidal, anything, they will literally send your ass back home. They're like, we're not dealing with this.
Oh my gosh.
So believe me, the amount of depression I had fractured, like injured, it was just like a complete failure. I was just like, I need to poker face this. Although inside I was just like, absolutely hated everything that was happening.
Yeah.
Crushed me, absolutely crushed me. And I remember when they send you to rehab, you can make a phone call. And the first person I called was my brother. I was like, I disappointed you. Like, I'm weak. I'm broken. Like, what do I even do with this? God. He's like, just keep pushing through. You'll be fine. He warned me, don't show any sign of like continuous weakness.
Oh my God.
Mental health is seen as weakness. I had to push through, and I did. However, there was that pressure because I go in with a group of females that had went in at the same time that I did, and they're graduating. They're like already moving on graduation, and I'm still behind in recovery. So I think I kind of set myself up a little bit for failure later on, where I decided, you know what, let me go to medical and say that I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I was in a sense, but I don't think I was fully recovered. But I still pushed through. I still met the minimum requirement for like my running, for like all my standards for my fitness tests.
With 2 fractured legs. Just like,
I'm glad you went to medical though and listened to your body finally.
I did. I wish I decided that I actually was sent to medical when I was literally hopping around and my drill instructor was like, you asked me to go to medical. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm hopping around like a crazy person. But I was sent. I wish I could say that it was me that decided to go on my own, but I didn't.
I mean, I understand.
There was a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I think I understand why you didn't. I feel
100%.
Like all of us, I mean, and by the way, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And, always. And I think a lot of people don't realize the mental fatigue that just all of that has on you. And
in a way, you're an athlete and you're just pushing yourself to the absolute max to get to that ultimate end goal, which was being a Marine, which is absolutely unbelievable. It's, I think, harder than any professional athlete job in the
no
world.
one knows
No
until
one
they're
actually
in
knows.
there, and you're just doing it with 2 fractured legs and just like, and I think that mental stamina where you're like, I am getting to this and I'm not letting anyone tell me I'm not going to get to the finish line. And you're so right, in a male dominated field for sure. If you're a woman and you walk up and be like, I'm hurt, they're like, oh, she's a girl. So and it's like, no, I literally have broken legs. So leave me alone. But kudos to you for being so mentally tough through that. And so I just wanted to mention the way I met Enjely. I was on a diversity series led by Ashley Mitchell, who's a Boston-based fitness instructor.
Unbelievable person.
And I remember, Enjely, you bringing up how nutrition was a huge part of the Marines for you and kind of finding your way into it. Do you want to touch upon that a little bit and just tell us how?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, how it went.
So I think my experience in the military was obviously led me here today.
Yeah.
As I was trying to recover from an injury, I started to notice, and again, I noticed this years later as I was going to school, that what led to my injuries was the lack of fueling, the underfueling that us female Marines, it was very common for people to have fractured hips and fractured legs and all the time. So I started the more I started going into my field and when I was studying nutrition, I was like, that exactly what's happened. I was underfueled in training hardcore. Well, yeah, no shit. Why my freaking leg fractures?
Right.
And not only that fracture led to something a lot worse. And I'm so much of an advocate with my athletes that I work with now. When they come to me injured, I don't like self-disclose them all the time, but when I do, it's coming from a place of passion. Like, hey, I get it. Mm-hmm. However, don't do what I did. My fracture progressed into something a little bit more serious. I ended up damaging my nerves and my muscles that the week that I was supposed to go on deployment, I was set to go get emergency surgery because my legs was ready, basically, without trying to be too graphic, was ready to explode. I had too much dead tissues just building up in there that I had to get emergency surgery.
Oh my gosh.
So the after effect of that, I lost complete numbness in my lower part of my leg. So yeah, that is the aftermath whenever you keep ignoring your body and your body, like, hey, you need to stop. Mm-hmm. But how could I when that is the culture when they're telling you, like, when you're female, so suck it the F up, basically. And just push through. And I was like, yeah, but like, look what happens.
Yeah.
If I put through knowing that my body knew and it been telling me, like, stop. I was like, I couldn't. How could I?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't stop if I had been you either.
My question to you is, while you were there, did you have access to like the foods that you should be eating?
Yes. So that is the one thing that I'm a little disappointed about in the military. So they teach us everything and, anything military, but the one thing that they lack on, I don't know if they're doing anything now, and I will have to talk to my brother who's still active duty in the Marine Corps. Nutrition, there was like no talk about nutrition and how to fuel. They will provide us the food. And I remember in boot camp, when I get sent to the rehab facility, I saw what males ate. They fed the males like what they call chow. Mm-hmm. They fed the males well. And then us, we were eating low fat stuff, super low calorie things. We train as hard as a male.
Right.
Why the hell am I being fed low fat shit? Like, I'm literally.
Yeah. You're like, where's my whole milk? Yeah. I don't want skim milk.
Like, give me the full fat. Give me the full calorie. Like,
yeah. All of it. I had their chow. Again, when I talk about chow, their lunches and dinners. And it's like carbs, protein, like super stuff that we need.
Yeah.
Because we're tactical athletes. We need that shit. Why the hell are we being fed low fat shit on the female end of the world? Like, we train as hard as the males.
That makes me so angry.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. And then it was so kind of getting into body image a little bit, do you think there was a lot of like body dysmorphia and then this specific body type to look like, especially while you were in the military as well?
Yes. The pressure of having to look a certain way to serve your country, to be, of a standard, to be military fit. Like, it's insane. So they do body standards, like body checks all the time. We have to get weighed in. If you don't meet the weight standard, then they do taping on us to make sure that you don't have a certain body fat. It's like this thing. And I remember where it started becoming an issue for me was post my injuries. I got two major surgeries in my leg.
Yeah.
And I was literally not on my feet. I was in training. I was obviously eating things.
Yeah.
And I gained pounds because I was bed rest.
How would you not?
I was bed rest for like 2 months, 3 months. And then it was time for us to get weighed in. And it's like, they were like questioning, like, I'm like, I'm literally here in crutches. People have to help me go up and down stairs. So,
oh my God.
How do you expect me to exercise right now? Just wondering.
Yeah, like, do you have anything for me? No, you don't. So it was a lot of that pressure. And I don't think I talk about it to everybody, but I want to explain to you how bad the disordered eating is and body image during that time when we're about to get weighed in.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the PX, which is like a commissary, the aisles of laxatives will be gone.
No.
Like stacked, just be gone all the time. Mind you, this was normal. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to PX to go get a whole bunch of laxatives so I can meet weight standard.
That is insane.
They don't have a hard time.
And I feel like, everyone participating in that, it's like, how do you break that pattern when you leave? Right?
Yeah.
It's like so mentally damaging. And then you think, okay, I needed to do this when I was in the military. Like, did you find that was hard to break? And is that why you felt so compelled to get involved in disordered eating?
Yes. So very hard to break. So I then get out because my injuries just progressively got worse. I could no longer serve in the military.
So sorry.
I was medically retired. And then after my medical retirement, then now I have to deal with, now my body's completely changed. I'm not active the way I was. I'm in pain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a whole bunch of medications. Mind you, I was like 22 years old, taking a whole bunch of medication, more than my mom and my grandma combined. It was pretty sad.
Yeah.
And, we were trying to figure out my life because our life, I got married young, so I'm still married, been with my husband. We've been together for 11 years. We met in the service.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you. So we met in the service and we were trying to figure out like what we're going to do next. And then he decides to go to school for personal training.
Woo.
And he will just come back, right? He will come back and talk about like basic nutrition stuff. And I just started to get curious. I'm like, you know what? I know it's like basic stuff, but like, I want to know more. I was like, could I use this to heal? Like, could I figure out my relationship? Like, I didn't know what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I'm totally transparent about this. My disordered eating did lead to an actual eating disorder, but I was so naive or just lacked the education because my understanding back then, eating disorder was like, oh, I had to be a skinny white girl, right?
Yeah, totally.
High school, thin white girl. I'm like, I wasn't that. So I don't have an eating disorder, right?
It's not it.
Cool.
That's not it. Yeah.
I mean, that's not it. So whatever I have going on, it's not that. So I didn't know what it was, but it was an eating disorder.
Wow.
It wasn't until I started pursuing school for nutrition and then starting to really get into the depth of things and knowing the difference. I know one of the questions was like knowing the difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian.
Yeah.
I remember I was at Regis College. I graduated with my associates at Middlesex Community College and then was like super liberal arts, super general. And then I ended up Regis College where my sister graduated from. And it was like a nutrition and fitness with a concentration in nutrition. That's what it was.
Amazing.
And super basic. And then one of my nutrition classes, my community nutrition class, my professor was a dietitian and she would talk to the class and I had asked her, I'm like, what's the difference? And she's like, and she explained the difference. So I'll be happy to explain the difference.
Yeah, go for it. I feel
a lot of our listeners, I think, are definitely wondering what's the difference exactly? Because, you know, I think you read dietitian / nutritionist and people are like, oh, isn't it the same thing? And it's not.
So like a registered dietitian, and I'm going to speak in Massachusetts in general.
Yep.
But Massachusetts has 5 accredited schools that you can go to that will be the schools that will take you to the path of becoming a dietitian.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have, they have more formal schooling. So you have to have a bachelor's degree. And then as of 2024, you do have to have a master's degree.
Wow.
Again, you have to go to these accredited schools, which we have 5 here. The coursework for it, it's very science heavy.
Yep.
Okay.
Just think of every science. So sometimes I would take class with nursing students.
Yeah.
Just involved in the healthcare system. In addition to taking all these classes, we do have to do a 1,200-hour supervised internship.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we do have to pass a national testing. So that is such a random exam. So it's super random exam.
Probably really difficult.
So difficult. That was like a whole different entity that I was like stressed. I finally graduated my graduate program. I have to go to school for 8 years. And then it's like, oh, you have to study for this national exam.
Oh my gosh.
So you become the actual credential to become a dietitian. The studying for it was complete chaos. It was like so stressful. But anyway,
I can't even imagine.
I took it and passed it. I'm good to go. Officially a dietitian.
I love it.
Anyways, in order for us to kind of keep up our credentials, we do have to keep up with doing continuous education units, like continuous credits.
I was going to ask if you had to do those.
Yeah.
We had to do that. We had to keep up. We had to do 75 and it has to be completed within 5 years. And then 20 for the state licensure. So I'm also licensed in the state of Massachusetts.
Wow.
Which is amazing.
So
it's a lot of work.
Title. It is. It was a lot of work. It's a protected title. Mm-hmm. So like a nutritionist, there's no really formal like education requirement. People do get certificate, but again, it's on 100% not the same thing as what we do. Anybody can legally call themselves a nutritionist, but no one can legally call themselves a dietitian.
Well, the nutritionist, like, so I know
you can take
you can take a course online. Like you pay for it, you take a test, you get your certificate in email.
It's like
hey, I'm a nutritionist, and it's like.
But it's like similar to being a personal trainer. You can like take a course for a couple $100, become a personal trainer, but it's the experience that you build being a personal trainer that makes you how good of a personal trainer you are. You know what I mean? So, but like for a dietitian, you're like, for example,
you're basically a doctorate in nutrition.
Yeah.
Like you literally went and got your doctorate, and
for 8 years of schooling to go through all of that is wild.
And I will say I was a nutrition / dietitian major for 1 semester in college. 1 semester, hence the one, because I was failing every class I was taking, because I was taking like all these crazy sciences like you were mentioning, Enjely. Like I remember we were both kinesiology, so we were in a few of the same classes as the nutrition majors and dietitian majors were. So, you know, chemistry I was terrible at, but like I was like, biology. I will not take orgo for the life of me. Organic chemistry, I can't. And all of my nutrition friends, because I met a bunch of people the first semester, they're like, oh yeah, orgo is just awful. I'm like, I am no longer a nutrition major because I know I would fail that class because I had to take chem twice. It's so hard. It's so science heavy though too. And I think people,
science heavy.
I think people don't realize that.
Question to you. Originally, you said school wasn't an option, right? When you graduated high school, so you were going to enlist. So what made you decide that, like, yeah, I can go to school. I am a badass. I'm smart. Know what I should be doing.
Oh my God. To be completely transparent, I had the government paying me to go to school now.
Yeah.
To be honest, I said, and I tell this to a lot of my peers that are going through school and paying for school, the luxury that I have. And again, I try not to feel bad about it. I get my paid for. I did my time in service, and this was if the government wants to give it as a gift, great, thank you.
Yeah, it's
but
a huge benefit.
I did my time. I did a time, and that was the way of repaying us veterans. So I did get my school paid for.
I mean,
that's amazing.
I feel like too, look at the damage it did to your body. You're like, you paid for it in your mental health and your body and your injuries. And I never feel guilty for that, because
you earned it in every way.
It's just, it's night and day. Like this is an amazing opportunity that you had to be able to go and do school for what you wanted to do, like go for.
And now educate people on how to be healthy in the military and be healthy while they're doing sports and performance and everything like that. The main thing of our podcast is fueling your body properly. And we love how you talk about how people don't fuel enough.
Yeah.
Because so many people think the first thing, if they want to lose weight, they need to cut stuff out. And usually it's they don't eat enough.
Right.
Do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Do you find that happens a lot with the people you see?
Yeah, all the time. So like all of the clients, or I don't say all of them, I said 95% of my athletes that come to me are either they have a full-fledged eating disorder that I'm working with, or they just have a really bad disordered way of doing things around eating and their behaviors, and over exercising as well. So
it's a loaded question.
It's a very loaded question.
Yeah.
I get all kinds of things. Society may look at someone based off their, figure and be like, that person is healthy.
Yep.
And I get clients that come to me with these languages around eating, around I'm a clean eater, I don't eat this, and I avoid this. And it's like, okay, cool. And I do my best to educate them. Mm-hmm. But one thing I do request for all my clients is to send me or I call their medical doctors, whoever they're connected with.
Yeah.
Because we do work very closely with in a multidisciplinary group of individuals. So I work with medical doctors, I work with therapists, all working within the eating disorder realm. So I usually ask for any labs, anything they got updated that again is going to be around my realm that I can look at. And like, okay, so 95% of the times their internal system says a different story. So for them, they might physically look, according to society, look healthy and fit.
Yeah.
But internally, medically,
not so much.
Bodily, they're not.
That's, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah. And I think too, like Carly was saying, with the disordered eating patterns and how we talk about all the time. So as personal trainers, Carly and I are both group fitness instructors. Carly's a spin instructor. We find in a lot of the younger generations as well, now that social media and TikTok and, so Instagram, Facebook, everything, and there's so many editing apps, there's this desire to look a certain way, work out a certain way to make your body basically contort into something that it just genetically could not.
And isn't natural.
And right. It's just, we always talk about, we're sisters. Carly has a completely different body than I do. Like we're not made up the same way. I carry my body differently than she does. And that's okay. And we're both healthy, but I might carry a little bit more weight than her, but that doesn't make me unhealthy. So It's like this desire to look a certain way. I think, I can't even imagine how much it is influencing your athletes. Like I know when we were both college athletes, the body dysmorphia
in each sport,
it's terrifying.
Insane.
Like everyone looks so fit, but mentally everyone's like, I'm gigantic. And it's like, it's like, how did we get here?
Yeah, it's pretty intense. Like I gave myself an age group that I'm willing to work with, but anything outside of that, I don't feel comfortable morally, ethically, whatever you want to call it. When I get my care, we have a care coordinator who's a social worker who will set up these clients with us based off if we're going to be a good match. And she said, would you want to see an 8-year-old? And I'm like,
oh
no.
My gosh. That breaks my heart.
What? And she's like, oh yeah, she's having a lot of body image issues and doesn't know what to do with her eating. I'm like, she's 8 years old. Goodness sake. Like what?
Breaks your heart.
Yeah.
It really does. So 14 is the youngest I see my athletes. So I have my high school students, and I have my college students, and then I have like some professional, more adult students who are more recreational athletes.
Yep.
But yeah, it's even tough, even working with my 14, 15, 16-year-old. They just have access to TikTok, TikTok this, TikTok that. And I'm on TikTok, so I see all the kind of shit.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty damaging. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, I'm sure you could make an amazing TikTok account educating people
pretty much
on the right things.
We're super anti-diet culture, and I've seen a lot of your posts talking about how you're an anti-diet dietitian, which I just think is so incredible. We break down a lot of the like fad diets on our podcast.
Keto, carnivore,
just all the
South Beach.
All of it.
Yeah. So
and try to provide like the scientific facts behind it.
We're obviously not nutritionists or dietitians, so we always do, scientific research about it. And we're like, here are the facts, do what you want with them. But 98% of the time we're like, this diet's not a good idea. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Just don't have a diet. Like don't go on a diet.
Life is all about balance. And I think that you've said finding the balance for each person and on what they're exercising, what they're eating. How proud do you feel when you see a client have a breakthrough? And what does a breakthrough look like to you with your clients?
It looks so different for everybody. I think especially some of my clients that are more severe eating disorder who have been fighting or been in denial that they need additional support. Because again, I'm an outpatient, so I can provide as much support as possible.
Yep.
But it gets to a point where we both realize like, okay, they're going to require a higher level of care.
Yep.
And really, when they decide that they're going to go to like an inpatient for eating disorder treatment or whatever the case is, like that is like, makes me feel good. And it actually keeping in track and see how they're doing. Cause I get the dietitians, wherever they end up going, reach out like to ask me questions, like things that and I had one client, my first client, she was my really, really tough case. And it took us a little while, but then she decided that she's going to go to treatment center. And she says, the only way I'll go is if I can come back to you. And that was like a lot of pressure. And I was like, okay. I'm like, let's go. I'm still going to be here.
Yes.
So like mid-treatment, she sends me an email. She's like, are you still here? I'm like, I'm still here. Don't worry about it. Keep doing your thing. And then she finally comes out and she's like, I'm back. I was like, all right, I get to see them.
I just got chills.
It's just like, I don't know. Like, I know going into this type of work, when I tell my clients that I understand, I don't I totally don't self-disclose with everybody, but when I choose to, and I tell them that I understand, like not like, scientifically what happens to you, but like educationally, like I study this, but like I get it because I lived it. it.
I think
I was it.
That's so valuable.
You lived it, you overcame it, now you're educating on it. And that I think speaks so much.
It speaks volumes, and I think it teaches you, that compassion and understanding that, and this is slightly off topic, but just in the medical world, right? Me and Carly are fighting 2 injuries right now, and we've been trying to get through to doctors being like, this is not working, like, please help me. And they're like, you're fine. And I think someone that has any lived experience through whatever they're treating, right, provides that knowledge and support that is just not this, like it's just amazing.
The compassion is definitely, and the empathy.
It's unmatched, basically.
Yeah. I wish, like recently I've been seeing a ton of doctors because I have this super rare rib injury called costochondritis. And it's like basically the cartilage in between my ribs have a ton of micro tears in it. So it inflames and causes my rib to slip out of place. So it's
really gross.
A super painful injury. And I have been dealing with it since college swimming. And the doctor I had while I was in college, he was so compassionate and so determined to help me. And he was amazing. But now I find that so many doctors are like, well, why don't you just switch careers? And I'm like, because I'm in a career that makes me happy and I just want my body to function in this career. I need your help to get there though. And they keep telling me to switch my job.
They're like, just quit.
Yeah. And I don't love that. So the fact that you are educating people, relating to them, and I think being relatable as a dietitian is probably the most, what's
it's
the
so
word?
valuable.
Yeah, valuable. The most valuable experience that anyone could have meeting with someone.
Yeah. I mean, it's just awesome. And I think we have a couple writing questions, if you don't mind answering those as well. We've had, I posted the question box and they just like flooded.
Flew in. People, I think, actually, before you do that, I have a question. Do you think everyone can benefit from meeting with a dietitian?
Yes. And the only thing I would say is making sure that, it depends what you're looking for, because again, we go through the same training, but we all specialize in different things. So you're going to see dietitian that might specialize in special populations, like, eating disorders and disordered eating. I do that. I work with athletes. I work with sports nutrition, diabetes management, cancer treatment. Like, we work in all kinds of stuff. It's just like making sure. Also, like, whenever people have therapists, and you go to a therapist, you got to go shop around. Sometimes you don't click with that person. You have to build that relationship and make sure that you guys are a good match. I wish people come to me and I connect with them instantly. And I know that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
But that's one thing coming into this field I had to tell myself is I know I'm not going to be able to save everybody.
Yeah.
So I have to kind of let go of that idea. So basically, to answer your question in short, is like, yes, but also making sure knowing what they're looking for and being connected to the right dietitian.
I think also that like as a dietitian, you probably deal with a lot of, because you're dealing with eating disorders, but deal with a lot of mental health. So like you're almost like a therapist as well, because mental health depends so much on eating, and what you're eating depends on your mental health. Like it goes hand in hand. So I feel like that is also just like a huge part of like why you need a vibe with your dietitian. You need to be comfortable telling them about the stresses in your life and
what's going on.
Yeah, what's going on, why your sleeping might not be as good, things like that.
I think
they do call us nutrition therapists.
Yeah.
The dietitian that work in the store, they do call us nutrition therapists. We basically do therapy around nutrition and work.
Which is just
unbelievable.
It is. And I did want to touch upon, do you want to tell us a little bit about the Boston Alliance for Diversity in Dietetics? Because it is so amazing that you're an active board member on it. I think a lot of people need to learn a little bit more about why this exists, because there's such a lack of diversity in registered dietitians.
Yeah. So we are trying to, like, it's a full of professionals and even students. So we have our interns really trying to promote diversity within the dietetic field. And the biggest problem is like recruiting and retaining, because some students might be interested in it, but it looks like they have a hard time. I think it's everywhere. It's just not in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. We have a hard time retaining. Believe me, there was plenty of time that I was questioning of not moving forward, because it started to feel like very cookie cutter at some point where, a lot of my peers were white girls. Everybody's eating salads. Everything was very like cookie cutter. And I'm like, where do I belong?
Yeah.
I have no idea. However, it's kind of one of those things, I can always relate to a certain community because, again, I got the financial support. Yeah. So, again, we're trying to like recruit and retain these individuals. Not only just, people of color, but males. We have like no males in the dietetics. We call them unicorn when we have a male dietitian. Males, people part of the LGBT community. We have one of my colleagues is a queer dietitian, and we talk about all this stuff. We have trans community. We have, people within that community that has a lot of eating disorder issues because again, transitioning over. It's the whole thing. Anyway, so we need more people like this to really help make the dietetic field look different.
Well, and
I also think it makes people more comfortable, like a person of color or a queer person or whoever, to go to a person that they want, not just like a cookie cutter person, like you were saying. Like it would make them feel more comfortable. Like we were talking to someone the other day that they said they would feel more comfortable with a bigger trainer because they would understand how they felt,
how it feels to move a body that's not a size 4 or 6, a body that's a 10 or a 12. It's the same thing. People wouldn't want to go to a dietitian where they have no relatability at all. Like, you have no idea what my lived experience is, so how am I supposed to relate to you, kind of thing. So I think that's amazing. And it is really, it speaks volumes to the fact that there is really just such a gap in that, just in that field. And I think it's amazing that you guys are really trying to bring that, advocate for it. And then also bringing people, I mean, how old are you bringing people in from? Like,
so we're targeting right now. So I'm part of the outreach and mentorship program. So we're targeting like a lot of high school, a lot of these students that are going into, college. So exposing them into like nutrition field, know that we exist.
Yeah.
There's people that look like us if you're interested, and helping them, because again, the science is so heavy. The scholarship, making sure that they're financially supported.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm a big, we have a big nonprofit organization called Diversified Dietetics, and they have been amazing. I wish they were around when I was coming.
Totally.
They've been around. But yeah, they're a big community of people of color everywhere. That's when I realized, there's other people that look a little bit like me.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Dominican dietitians are in New York and Pennsylvania, which made sense.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I had my group of my people that I can reach out to. But again, I have a group of people, I have mentors that are white, African American, Dominican, Puerto Rican. I have one that's from where she's from. She's from Costa Rica. Like,
amazing.
I have all that access.
And I feel like it makes it less intimidating when you see a familiar face in that community. So I love that you guys are advocating and going out and educating people on that you exist, and that like you can do it no matter what.
Like, we're
it's
here,
all inclusive.
We want you to be a part of this and not feel like you can't be a part of it because of what you look like. That's not something that we want people growing up to feel like. So,
and that's how exactly we feel in the fitness industry too. And that's why we're having you on the podcast and trying to educate everyone.
Yeah, it's everything, dietetics and fitness goes so hand in hand. And I think it's so awesome that your husband is personal trainer, because I'm sure you have great conversations. And I'm sure he probably comes home and talks to you all the time being like, my client that works out 6 days a week and eats literally an almond for breakfast and then like has 1 glass of water is still being like, okay, I need to lose like another 30 pounds. And I feel like it's one of those things where the fitness industry can be very damaging to people's eating and mental health. So I think, bringing you on, you are our first dietitian like on our podcast ever. We've had a lot of different fitness instructors, and that's why we're just so excited to open the floor to you to really educate our listeners, because I feel like we just learned so much too.
Yes.
But I mean, my 1 semester of nutrition really taught me a lot, but I barely passed any of those classes. So I'm going to bring up some of those listener questions. I think you did touch upon a few, but let's see. So one of our listeners said, what is the best time to take a protein supplement? Is it 30 minutes? Is 30 minutes after a workout really that important? I didn't even know that was a thing, but
I've heard
a supplement, like a protein powder or something?
Yeah, probably.
Or
like
shake.
Protein shake, protein bar.
So again, I'm going to say this in the most general way possible, because nutrition is very much
Personalized.
individualized. But research shows that it's helpful for pre-activity and post, recovery snacks or meal. In this case, it's protein. So what's going to be important is going to be the fueling before and after, what they look at. So the before, they look at more of that carb protein ratio that I'm sure people have mentioned, pre-activity. And post-activity, we want for our athletes to be fueling. The time frame, again, varies per person, could be roughly between 20 to 45 minutes post-activity for recovery purposes.
Okay.
To have that. I'm a big promoter of food first and then supplement, but if that's what we having, then I'm not mad at it. Like, we take what we
can get.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's actually helpful.
Yeah, that's super good to know.
Me and Carly we try our best with eating. We will always admit, don't mirror what we do, because
Ever.
I'm like the worst kind of person. I'll have like a large iced coffee, train 6 clients, and be like, oh my God, it's 2 p.m. I haven't eaten a damn thing. Not that I didn't want to. It's just, I forgot. Like,
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool, because I had no idea about the protein intake right after the workout. I mean, I did, but I didn't know the time frame. Another thing is, what are the best foods to eat after a tough workout? So is it protein pretty much? You don't want to do the carbohydrate thing, or like, you know, a nutrient dense meal maybe?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
What are the best foods to eat after a tough post-workout food?
Yeah. So depending on the length of your workout, depends if you're going to eat food instantly. If there's going to be this gap, this is where the gap is going to be very important. So depending if you're training in the evening time and dinner is going to be an hour away, then I would highly recommend that we fuel for recovery here at this little gap.
Okay.
So if we know it's going to be an hour or 2 away, fuel. But if you know you're going to go straight into eating, fine. It should have enough food in there within your carbs, your protein, all the good stuff.
Okay.
Your veggies. What kind? Yeah. Protein. I'm a big chocolate milk person. Chocolate milk.
Yes. Okay.
Chocolate milk.
I love that.
Is a perfect ratio of it all. It's just chocolate milk is not, I know people are always like haters of it.
No.
I'm always promoting chocolate milk with my athletes.
Loved chocolate milk. We were both swimmers in college, and it was literally our fridge in our locker room. It was just stocked full of chocolate milk. After a workout, we just walk out with our juice boxes of chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk. So for post, I think we were talking about, so for post or recovery stuff, it should be a combo of carbs and protein. So again, the chocolate milk, it has a good ratio of that carb and protein. Banana, super generic stuff, banana, almond butter, peanut butter, smoothies that are packed with different stuff, of turkey sandwich. Again, depending on the length of the time you're going to have a turkey sandwich. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's helpful, because I think a lot of people think, okay, so if I just worked out and I don't eat like a salad, I'm not going to see any results. And it's like, no. You can actually eat a nutrient dense meal after your workout, because your body actually needs it.
Yep.
And I think it's definitely reteaching that mental state of not being like, okay, I worked out today, so then I have to eat light so I see the results. It's like, no, on the days that you don't work out, okay, fine, have a salad, but have some chicken, potatoes, and veggies as your dinner, and you're going to feel satisfied and full. And that's what you want.
I get that all the time from most of my athletes.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you kind of get taught that. I feel like that's what I thought in college.
Yeah, me too.
You know, and it all depends on your resources too at whatever university you're at. So some obviously universities have a better, nutrition program for their athletes than others.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had access to a nutritionist. I never used it. And that's my biggest regret in college, not using it, because I eat like an asshole. I eat Eggo waffles for breakfast. You know what I mean? Recently, I've been a lot better because I am injured and I'm unable to work out. So I am trying to fuel my body better, like eating a turkey burger for lunch instead of like a peanut butter and fluff.
Carly is just the type, convenience. She's a convenience eater. So it's like whatever is
at
there,
my fingertips.
And she doesn't have to wait for too long, because she usually waits way too long to eat. So we're all in practice of it, and that's what we really try to say. We're all humans, so we'll, as fitness instructors, we'll never be like we're perfect preaching all this healthy living lifestyle.
I've learned so much from you today. So
I literally tell my clients all the time that as we're working together, that my goal is to get them to be a normal eater versus a perfect eater. That is not my job. There's no such thing. A normal eater will eat a little bit off. There's going to be days, 100% days, because life just gets ahead of you where you undereat and wish you would have had more, or you overate and feel full and uncomfortable and feel like crap. However, we move on. Like, don't let that, if it starts to follow behind guilt, shame, then that's another situation that's happening. But hey, we're human. We're human.
Say it louder for the people in the back. That was like, I just want to like clap to that. That is just, I think, the perfect way to, wrap up this conversation, because this is why our podcast is called Eat the Damn Cake. Like, if you want a slice, just eat it. Don't think about the calories. Don't think about what you did that day to deserve it. If you want it, have it.
We literally got this title because we saw fitness influencers posting like, oh, you earned breakfast, you earned dinner, and that made us cringe. And so Maddie was like, eat the damn cake.
I literally posted on my Instagram story, I'm like, if you want the cake, then eat the damn cake. And then we got the podcast and we're like, that has to be the name. It has to. But
it has to.
I mean, it is scary too. We were talking about it the other day. Fitness influencers all the time, they're like, work out for 30 minutes with us and burn 300 calories. And I just sit there and I shake my head and I'm like, is that how you want to market exercise to people?
No.
Like, earning your breakfast. We went for a run this morning, so we earned those pancakes. It's like, you slept for 12 hours. You already
earned it.
Like,
you're breaking your fast.
Like, you needed those pancakes. You didn't earn them. So
stressful. It's just, I mean, it's exhausting.
I can't imagine, because you have to handle it. I mean, you handle it first degree. We see it just as working in fitness, but people come to you because all of these things on the internet and on social media is why they're coming to you. And if anyone's listening and they're like, okay, this might be eye-opening to me. Maybe I do need a registered dietitian in my life, a licensed dietitian. Do you know of any resources in Massachusetts that some of our listeners could go to if they are looking for one?
Yeah, so I don't have a direct link, but I'll be happy to show you. But all I ask is, again, I think I have mentioned it to Carly, that if you are looking, depending on what you're looking for, to go to the right people, make sure that you're a match. Because believe me, I get clients all the time. I don't do weight loss. I help you mend your relationship with food.
Yes.
And what can come out of it could be weight loss, but I don't guarantee that. That is something I'm very adamant about, because it wouldn't make sense for us to try to mend your relationship with food and then try to tackle weight loss at the same time. It won't work. It'll be conflicting. It will prolong the process. So looking for the right people. So if you're adamant and you're sure you want to lose weight, go to a dietitian that does like weight management.
Yes.
If you are wanting to fix your relationship with food and nutrition and don't want to be a chronic dieter and be yo-yo dieting forever, reach out to someone like me.
Love that.
Yes.
Love
Enjely.
that. Can you plug your Instagram, website, whatever you have? Just let the people know where they can find you.
Absolutely. So, that's.
What is your Instagram so people can?
Okay, my Instagram is Enjely, so it's ENJIE.MK. That's my Instagram. Don't have a website. I'm still working on my branding stuff because I'm branching out on my own.
Hell yeah!
I'm still working for Metro West. And I'll be doing some other contract work that are coming up. Haven't officially taken it yet. It's to work as a sports dietitian for a college. So I'm excited about that. And we're just on standby. There's just a lot of opportunities are coming my way. I still want to do my own thing.
Yes.
So I'm also working on the side to make sure I'm building my stuff, my own little.
Hell yeah.
We love that.
That's what it's all about. We're so thankful that you came on today.
Thank you for carving some time out for us. We feel so grateful. And, make sure you go and follow Enjely. I follow Enjely on our accounts, and she posts a lot of valuable things on her Instagram, especially on her stories. Like, you can learn a lot just by having her on your
As a
socials
resource, yeah.
as a resource. So thank you again. You are awesome. And you always have a place here at Eat the Damn Cake.
Yes.
Always,
Thank you so much.
We'll visit.
Yes, you'll have to come in person and party with us instead.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, we'll be back with another set of guests.
Oh my gosh.
We have guests on guests on guests coming up. So much fun. But next week isn't really about fitness. It'll be a fun one.
Yeah, it'll be like just a wild and crazy one. But thanks again for listening.
Make sure to rate, review, subscribe, and
Just
eat
have
the
a
damn
good
cake.
Have a great day.
Woo!